Okay. GODAnd God. GODAnd God. Let's do that again. There's two God. There's God the Father, God the Son. And there's the third one, which is the Holy Spirit, but we leave it aside for now. God has ordered chaos, giving birth to reality. The Creator, through His voice, organized chaos and made reality out of it. And that's how you can see God as being that untouchable. You would have no idea what the architect would look like by looking at his house. Looking at his house, you have a bit more because it's his house. But the house that he built for somebody else, you kind of lose the architect in there. You have the will of the owner. So that's a bit the idea. It's really hard to imagine what God would be by looking at his house in that manner. If you descend everything one step and you forget about the heavens of heavens that you can't really touch, and you give the Father the place of reality, and then you kind of descend, and that be by us attaining consciousness down here. Attaining, I mean, it's been given to us, it's part of the plan and all that, but when it entered the realm of reality, it created Jesus. That's how you can relate kind of Jesus to the man, because he's very much about the perspectives. And his father's pretty much about providing an environment to use the objective for his goodwill, and his will is good. Is what good is. So by descending the Father into the realm of reality, taking the place of Jesus at that level, descending Jesus down to the conceivable, to the ability of the mind that is willed to have an application of creation and work. Everything becomes dynamic with the Trinity for the effectiveness of describing basically what the work is. So I say by the realizable, I'm talking about that realm that shows the distortion of our heart, that have created a new reality on top of the natural reality with all sorts of means. That in the old days were performed onto a much higher technical level of spirituality, and by the use of magics and those kinds of ideas, geopolymer and megalith and cathedrals, name it. Because it manifested differently in different era by the spiritual realm that is at war, and lose power and gain power, and achieve what Satan wants at the end for himself. Satan is in charge of every demon, and all those big demons once again reappear as Satan, because the higher class that are working or thinking that they're working Satan in our era. In reality, they're just manifesting with one of his members. That's why you have huge geopolitics area in the world that are defined by the cultures. And they're different arms of Satan, and he plays chess with that. So Satan is a main concept, is an unacceptance of the natural realm that God has presented to us, the Garden of Eden, untouched nature. We decided we preferred chipping the stone, that giving room to, or giving the game board to the devil. Us being able to manage matter. So once you have the conception that all the brilliant idea you have in your life, they're right from Satan and his dividers, then you get. That's when you have a perspective of your non-guilt and your guilt. Because you were cursed. You didn't know you were cursed. You thought you had free will, and it was a good thing. But once the third level appears to you, where you see God and Jesus on another realm than the one I just described a little bit, is that now the Father becomes that place of hope that we have created, so to say, the work of the devil. God is in control of everything. He's in control of the devil. We don't fear the devil anymore because we don't participate into his tree of knowledge, because we have lost our self-desires. We don't have any perspective of the future, but to regard the elements of reality happening in front of you that are displayed as a timeline for an event position of your mental capacity. In a way, you understand the times for the approachment of the ultimate time, and you see it develop towards that. And it's kind of hard to put it in years, but it's very easy as an event is being planted in our face in reality. Just like now we have the opening of AI. See what that does. Not long ago we had the super invention of RNA vaccines. These kinds of events enlight you to see where you are in the concept of the end time that you read in the Bible. All that to pinpoint that you have realized what the real truth is in that reality that is presented to us. That's when that spirit of truth come into you. Reality becomes tangible. So Jesus render his effectiveness. And that's where I didn't want to talk about the Holy Spirit too much, but that's where you get the mechanic, the link in between the man and the spirit. Jesus became man, so he could dissipate the spirit. It's a bit, in a way, it's a bit of kind of a necromancy kind of idea, but it's not I mean, it's necromancy, but you understand that that spirit is not an idea spirit. It's an ideological spirit. So it's the spirit of comprehension. So it's to comprehend the spirit. You get on a level that you have had a perspectivity of what the spirit realm is in reality and fact and will. So you have it naked in front of your eyes. As a Christian, you have the devil naked in front of your eyes. You know, I mean, or you're stripping it out of his clothes would be a better imagery. You discover the devil. You get more and more of his abilities in reality. And you know about technology on one sense because you're grown up in one of those G8 countries. But then when you get in a poorer country, a bit like here in Mexico, you get all the the shaman aspect of that same reality, the spiritual power on the biological base of it, healing and that stuff. And it's real. As much as the prosperity gospel is real in the States, and real for the fact that it's true that if you pray day long, day in, all your life, all your mind-boggling is for that $40,000, and the priest told you should pray for that $40,000 day in, day out, and it'll be realized to you, yeah, more likely gonna work. But that's innocently not knowing that you just sold your soul to the devil. That now you owe him $40,000. And as long as you don't pay him, then you have he has a hold on your soul, and it'll be hard for you to pay the devil out of you. God is able of that, no problem. He's done it. I'm thinking. But all that to say that the spiritual realm is much more advanced because Satan is in control, and all the the communication is real good probably there. They hit a wall when they try to enter our heart because we have moral laws, and a lot of things goes against moral law. We know it's not good to play around with DNA, but we're doing it. And we have no idea of what we gave as power to artificial intelligence. We'll learn that. He's kind of taught. But you see all that develop, and it gives you time in the Bible. That affirms your convictions. You don't care that that's gonna happen. It's the plan of God. It's gonna happen. You won't change it. That's when you understand the concept of God. That in a way, when you pray God and you receive that $40,000, you prayed that, and you didn't pray for God. You didn't pray for understanding reality. You prayed for fame and power. That's the cursed heart. Nothing's free. You don't get that $40,000 free by prayer. You owe it to somebody, because it's not about the $40,000. It's about your misbehaved heart that has desire for the world down here. You understand truth to a depth that you understand that when you lie to someone, you rob him out of truth. And now you kind of cursed him because he's going abroad doing adultery, and he might not even know that he's a prostitute. He's only repenting around or propagating an idea that is false. So now he becomes that altar towards Jesus, and talking lies about him, all all those new sins that you didn't perceive on the first plane, but you start when you know what the Bible is about, you start to comprehend the holiness. That if you sin at one point, you create a whole other bunch of bad things around. It propagates, just like sickness, and that's when you believe that God is in control of everything. That's how you regard sickness. Cancer is an affection of the devil. In a way, so as you would break an arm. But that's not the idea of what you want to perceive the devil, because you get into the realm of work there. You relate life with your biological entity, and that's not good. That's not good. Of course, there's life residing in your biological entity, but all that energy belongs to the devil. Because the bio energy, that kind of ether, or that kind of realm of force and all that stuff that has to do with star force and ley lines and the magnetism of the heart and her heartbeat and it's all about frequencies and waveforms, that only that the one can perceive. Those waves forms are part of that reality. That's why we cannot perceive the spiritual realm till we don't get drugs of hallucination that distort reality. Then you start having an idea what the spiritual realm is, distorting reality. In a real sense, in a sense that you had entered the zone, you had crossed the door, you are now on the other side. That's why you cannot get back to your sense, really. You try and whoop, it comes as soon as you kind of concentrate or trying to get back in your sense, woof, you get drawn away by another trip. You're not in control of your mind anymore too much. And that's what it is. That's dreamland. It's all the same stuff. And it alters it different ways, depending of either it's a drug or a dream or magic or however you call it. But it's always that same energy. It's always that same area. It's the area of imagination, the realm of the wanted to be possible kind of thing. And that's a bit what the drug are not doing compared to other things. It's that the whole aspect of it is completely fallen on the personal aspect of life kind of thing. It's your own personal little buzz when you're on drug, and it's pretty cool when a bunch gets on the same page and hear the same hallucinations. Then you wonder that you're going in that real realm of imagination. It can all freaking mesh together or not. It doesn't matter. It's the idea that it can. Make it more real. But that's what drives you. That's the same realm that drives you all day long. Making you thinking that you're somebody down here. And therefore adapting to yourself an identity. And that's not true. You don't have an identity down here. You have a soul, not an identity. It goes with free will. Because it brings you in a space that it kind of push you on the wall, making you become an individual. And that's how you base form cultures, that depending who you are and what country you are, you'll be a different identity, because there's the culture that is a big movement of putting together that identity together. So you slowly become an entity that has his own conception of what reality is. That's why people are pained, because they see that they sometimes achieve it, but then they want some more, and then they want some more, and then it wasn't really what they wanted. They wanted something else, and then they start seeing time pass, and they see that all those things don't solve anything, because you're acting upon reality. So you're fighting God. There's nowhere it's prescribed that you must create an identity for yourself and start to elevate standards and all that stuff. You participate in those millions of states of emotion, trying to adapt into something that would be all holding together, but is made out of all different sizes rock. Kind of creating a pyramid, but you create yourself, your own reality. And that's only because you don't believe in the reasoning of that it's very easy to regard as nobody's trouble by trying to imagine Mother Earth untouched by man. Pretty easy concept to seize. You could see that. And then you see what we have done of it. So that's God's will. Because he drives a machine that trains souls. And by purification of the heart, holding more and more comprehensions about what reality is really on a spiritual warfare aspect of things. Primarily knowing that all the brilliant idea that you receive and are tap out of imagination or conceptualization to better your living space down here is what transgression is. That your intelligence is not to be doing that, because you fall into idolatry. You think that God is not in control, and you try to go your own way. And you recreate yourself a reality, creating your identity. And that'll never answer your existential questions. Even though you work hard at doing that, it'll never answer your existential question. Unless you realize that it's in vain. You've done enough of it that you realize, wow, I'm doing all that and I don't feel better. Then you start looking for other alternatives. And then others, and then others. And it's by looking for truth that you find truth. That real truth is the comfort, and that you understand of what it's made. And when you regard it, you see, if you see God the Father as the unit of this balance according to his perfection, which become the devil, because God knew that we were to use our intelligence that way, is only a gigantic machine to grab the elect and train them. It's a training down here. And the first part of that training is to realize, I mean, it's so crisp and clear at new birth. Not only you realize what the devil is, but you feel him leaving you, scared. That's when you get forgiveness for everybody, because everybody's stuck that way. Everybody's stuck at the point of before new birth. And once you receive new birth, you felt that devil leaving you, scared. It's kind of an emotion thing, and it's a huge part of you. It's everything you wanted to become. Everything that you wanted to become leaves you scared. When he says he cuts you from temptation, that's the meaning of it. Is you understand your guilt by trying to create yourself a little place here on earth for your own little peace, your little self-sufficiency. That was my dream. I wanted to be kind of self-sufficient and cut off from society. And since I'm newborn, I hang out most of the time in downtown big cities. That's where people are, and that's where troubled people are the most, in bigger concentration. All those homeless and all that. In and out of jails, and that's life. That's life. That's when you discover your true identity, and you start playing on the heart level, and there's consequences to your act if you don't act right. Happens on the street, in the bike gangs and things like that. But covered by lawyer and police, and everybody is geared to, so you don't interact, and you leave the authority deal your actions for you. You've lost your heart. You've lost the ability of your heart at all those levels, at the level that there's repercussion to your actions. That in reality, there's no lawyer nowhere. If you piss the guy off enough, you'll get your black eye. It never solved nothing. And everybody knows it. And nobody wants to go there. If we lose control on violence, it's because we lose attachment to each other. We don't participate in heart within each other. We participate at materialistic expositions, kind of thing, where you reassemble the mind on the social ladder. And you have your friends for the reasons that you have your friends, because they're on the same bar as you are, and you can discuss the same things. So you have become that bar in society. You're part of that bar. You didn't comprehend how our reality work. You're not seeking truth. You're seeking comfort. And there's nothing belongs to you down here. So everything that you think that you built your identity with doesn't belong to you. Look how full you look like now. You came in naked. Everything that you can put on your back is in a way a chain of transgression that you wear with pride. Pretty rare to find a piece of clothing that is made out of the same guy that put it together has trimmed the sheep to get the wool. Made his own. Developing skills, basic skills. These kinds of things, because you're doing nothing wrong. You're trimming sheep and making clothes with it. You haven't chipped the stone. That's the idea. You don't chip the stone. That doesn't solve your salvation, but it indicates you where it starts. That's true. You're here to organize reality with your intelligence, and that comforts your heart. You gotta attend to your heart. You have to work toward having a good or working a better realization of what reality is for its essence. Comprehending the base, that everything that is out of balance is out of Satan's. It's a manifestation of you being scared to die. And working a materialistic aspect to try to save materialistic aspect, not comprehending that life eternal is an ideology, and the simple ideology of comprehending reality. And when you comprehend reality, you're at peace, because you comprehend what you're bathing in, what's the reason for it, and all that. It all falls under a system. And that's the magic of it, and that's why people don't get it, because it's too simple, and it is extremely simple. And to me, it boggles my mind. How come I never ever met another person that I can discuss all those realms of truthfulness? You get a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and I mean, so how come you don't get it? No, there's that blockage that is supernatural. It's a supernatural blockage because it's too simple. When you fall onto the word that explains the massiveness of that of an idea kind of thing, the simplicity for me to hate my ideas, because I know clearly that spirit leads flesh. I sense flesh. So the mechanism of my reflection is tapped into the spiritual realm. In the two manner that one of it you regard imagination and try to put a couple piece of all those ideas together so it embetter your life, creating that machine of hope. Discomfort of the flesh, trying to find solution for your discomfort of the flesh, using your intelligence the wrong way. Or you regard what that exact system that I explained has by produced. What's the effect of it? Is it a good idea or not? It's clearly not a good idea to try to save flesh. Why is it done? That's more of the peace puzzle that falls together when you understand what Antichrist is. Well, we're building Antichrist. I'm working at performing, I'm working in the system that will build Antichrist. And then he's gonna grab me and make me believe that he's Jesus. Because I've done that machine the same way that Antichrist will appear as an ideology. I'll tell you you've done fine. I'm getting you deeper into his trap. That's what Antichrist is really, that no. That's not what's written in the Bible. That you are clearly Antichrist because you manifest wonders. And Jesus Christ don't manifest wonders. He explains things. He makes things clear. He makes you comprehend. He doesn't bring you into a deeper states of nonsense that will surely go back to the first stage of that. Like the old days, the first part of it, where the spiritual realm was mostly powerful, where the magic level and all that stuff was the most high. The bigger giants and all that stuff. I'll go right back to that again. It's Armageddon. And when you see Armageddon coming, because you read it develop in the Bible. And that's that comforting truth. It's comforting to see all that happening. We're here to comprehend. We're not here to act. We're here to comprehend. And action is so far done that you really need to be here to regard the action and comprehend. That's where salvation is. To fully realize that you have been working for the devil all your life and you refused to see it and believe it. And that what makes you safe is that truth, and that Trinity on a really basic aspect, and that makes you see clear through the byproduct of reality, the corruption of the heart. That's where you're looking for guilt all day, because you want to know more about reality, and you find your race more and more potent in evilness. Know the vials and I don't remember how they put the words in the Bible, but you discover the devil, so you don't get trapped in his device. That's very much the lamentation and the crying of the saints, in a way, in prayers. That the more you discover how nasty human beings are, it always comes and pinch your heart. You're not proud of your nature. You become less and less proud of your nature. And walking towards God. And realizing more and more of your depraved nature. And how much more benefit you get out of just being kind and gentle with people and helping them and considering them. How much you can gain out of that. How much you can feed out of that. That aspect of charity. And that's when you let the spiritual realm go. Your desire to attend people and have discussion that they don't have with nobody and they want to talk about it. Everybody wants another person that can go deep into the reasons of life and things like that, and seizing and trying to capture the real essence of reality. A lot of people are digging that, but nobody wants to talk about that. So when you start opening on those subjects, people get attached quick to you because they see the consideration of the heart. When you effectively start answering questions that they've been wondering what's the justice in it for a long period of time, and they really capture the idea, it comforts them. Or it makes them completely out of their mind and they get really, really angry. But the cool thing is, every time that they are angry, they cannot explain why they are angry. But when you have good interaction, you can always kind of try to ask questions to try to see the validity of the comprehension they got on the preceding argument, kind of thing. Affirm their comprehension. Make them repeat in their own word, kind of thing. And then it creates that assurance in the discussion that you want to be fully aware of the position of the heart of the other member. Discussion of confidence. Exposition of weakness and trying to capture a way of to conceal the piece around that term and try to explain the bit that is not comprehended. Work towards trying to understand truth. It's only one motion. Salvation is one motion. Know me. That's the first law in the Ten Commandments. Know me, know me, know me, know me. You can do nothing if you don't know me. I can fully say that you receive that salvation, of course. But if I received it, it's because I was always digging into wanting to know truth. It was clear in my mind that it was a simple fact that if I have received the Spirit of truth, it's because I wanted to know Him all along. And for me, that manifestation was to regard how vile was society towards us, kind of thing. What was the quack with that unfitness of the gears of society compared to the human heart. It doesn't fit together one bit. There's something absolutely monstrously wrong with all that. That's when it says that Jesus is in you since the beginning. He's always with you. He's been with you. I describe that as always have had that opinion that we were vile towards our natural resources. We didn't treat Mother Nature right, and we didn't treat each other right. And I wasn't sure to see a correlation with it, but it's clear now. These are the questions I did for me. That those are the questions I was regarding. What the heck is more than the reality I can perceive with my sense? What's about quantum physics? What's about chakra? What's about ley lines? What's about heart magnetism? All those things. How come the whales don't get lost in the ocean? How come the migrating bird? The more you know about those things, the more all the dots starts to connect. It's exactly as comprehensible as your mental abilities, kind of thing. And the more you're able mentally, the more truth is hard to hold, because there's so many, you have discovered so many joints in it, and it's spinning on you on every direction. The concept being simple, when you have less of that mental ability, then you have less of those kinds of desire to know more about uncovering. You're a discoverer. Some are less discoverer. Some are more interpersonal, and there's millions of faces to that. But it's to not be scared to regard into all those things and take the time to do so. But that's the thing, people are so boggled with their daily living that they never think about those things. They never think about salvation. They have found that going to church every Sunday is way more efficient time-wise. It takes way less of their time. But new birth happens in 3 seconds. But there's been a lot of affliction to get to there. In the way that I was highly unsatisfied by society. I thought it was really bad, and I wanted to understand what made it that bad. So it was that kind of battle for me. So that God is simply logic. I'm enslaved by logic. My God is logic. When we have discussion of decent substance, place where life exists in the discussion, where you can give comfort and things like that, answer deep questions. That's where you affirm your logic best. Is with another human soul, because he holds logic also. So you can comprehend things together and really use what God has gave us in the right way. Conceive of your life. Conceive of your life as what's up with the position of your heart. What's the real consequences of your desires? Is there really a need to make your life more and more complicated because you're now in charge of so much material that you're only living to keep your assets up? And they have a hard time putting people on the street back in housing because they don't want to be in housing. They're better on the street. They don't have responsibility on the street. They can only think about themselves. As soon as they start having payment, whoop, now they have to rustle on the street and really buzz their ass. And then a lot of them are on the street because like that they avoid working. A lot of millennials have understood that they have nothing left with trillions in debt everywhere. It's a matter of time before we go on credit point. They understand that they'll never own anything, that the economy is not there to do that, and they're brainwashed at school thinking that way. And it's better like that to protect Mother Nature. They don't need us anymore, they have AI. So that's God. When you're crying to God because you don't like what you see, you're disrespecting God, telling him that he doesn't do a good job. That don't work. Whatever theology you have to figure that one out, because to me I regard and I see the devil everywhere. I know the devil is present. It manifests through our idea and our ideologies, our cultures, how the world is disbalanced compared to its natural states. That's truth, baby. You're evil possessed, and your ideas are of the devil. If they are of God, they are of comprehension. And you cease working for the devil when you comprehend. You work for the spiritual realm because the spiritual realm is in control. So the more decision you take, the more you cut yourself off God. So you don't want to take any more decisions. You offer no resistance. You just find a minimal way to live and be happy with the little you have. There's people all around, and you have discussion with people. That's where she counts. That's where it all balances. Discussion with people. That's your defeating the vice with evil. Exchange of the heart. Analyst of life and comprehension of existential questions. She all reside there, in the midst of two or three. Okay, that'll be God and God in the three planes. Have a good day.